What is going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new set of episode reviews. This is going to be for Attack on Titan, the final season. With me, as always, I have Blue Spade. Before we even start this review, I was actually surprised to see that this episode came out actually yesterday, on Sunday. So I thought it was going to come out today, but I guess they must have pushed it forward, I suppose. I don't know what the reason is.
Not to mention the fact early. That Crunchyroll crashed while we were trying to watch it.
Crunchyroll's servers, I guess, were overloaded or something, so Crunchyroll would not load at all. So I just kind of waited it out and I'll watch it later. But yeah, I guess everybody was trying to watch the episode.
Another thing too, it's like we've heard about this being called the final season like a year and a half ago, but from what we hear, it's about 16 episodes, and as of right now, the manga is still not finished.
I mean, I'm pretty sure at least this is just the first core, because there is no way if they're planning to adapt the manga that they're going to do like the final part of it in 16 episodes, especially with the manga still going, and that's what mainly concerns me about this season. The manga is not finished. So it's like I either hope that this is going to be a much longer season than the previous ones, or and they're going to wait until the manga is actually finished, or if they're in contact with Isayama and Isayama already basically told them what he plans to do with the ending before he's actually finished, put out the final chapters. So I guess in either way, I hope that's kind of the case, because otherwise, this, like I said to Blue Spade beforehand, this is going to turn into Tokyo Ghoul Re since season 2 specifically, because it was bad with season 1 and it just got worse.
Not to mention that this is kind of an odd time to start premiering a new anime, considering that this is late into
well. And if we're going under the assumption this is just the first core, then the number of episodes is also kind of weird. It's just being like 16 episodes instead of 12 or 13. So that's a little strange. But maybe that's an indication that this is going to be a longer season, which I'm really crossing my fingers that it will be, because it really does need more episodes to
season
properly.
3 took 2 years to complete, so it's it was 2 cores worth of episodes.
Well. Yeah, and MAPPA also had apparently they only had 1 year to animate this, so I hope they maybe if given more time they'll put out something better as we progress in the season, and also because they're also at the same time working on Jujutsu Kaisen, and it does seem because I've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen, they definitely are putting a lot of effort into the animation for Jujutsu Kaisen, so I kind of hope that. And it seems like the first core of Jujutsu Kaisen is coming to a close, because there's I think they're on episode 10, so they're probably going to be 12, 13 episodes in the first core, so they're probably getting close to the end of that, and then people are hoping once they get to the end of the first core, they'll put more effort into animating the final season of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, so the opening for this show, it's a complete departure from all the other stuff. It's not Linked Horizon for this opening. It's just
Oh, well, before we even start the opening, I guess we should talk about the how the episode just presents, the thing of it. Because we see a character we're unfamiliar with. Of course, we've seen him in the trailers, lying on the ground, facing up to the sky, watching a bird fly above his head, saying, "Hey, you shouldn't be here." For the people who don't know, this character's name is Falco, and he's going to become a fairly important character in this arc. So he's just basically lying there, and you see, the camera pans out, and you see that it's basically he's lying in the middle of the battlefield, and people are just dying around him. There's explosions going off, and somebody eventually comes up to drag Falco away from the chaos, or tries to pick him up so he can run away from, being the battlefield, and eventually he runs back into a trench. So this is pretty different from, anime-only watchers, I'm pretty sure, are just going to be completely, well, maybe not completely confused, because they probably saw this coming, considering how the final season had, or not the third season ended. But manga readers probably know what's happening. So, but anime-only watchers are probably going to still be a little bit confused because of just how different.
Not to mention that we're not seeing the original cast of this. You're not going to see Eren, Mikasa, or Armin, or any of the other Survey Corps members in this episode. This is just it's just introducing a new set of characters that's supposedly going to be like important for this particular storyline, which is going to be focusing on the war in Marley and the Eldians.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, pretty much. And I think also I should mention these new characters. I think I'm not sure if it's all of them, but I know of two characters that the other one we get introduced to in this episode, Gabby. Both Gabby and Falco are candidates for inheriting the Armor Titan from Reiner. So that's
It
kind of why
makes
they're
sense
important.
because of what we found out in the last season. Once,
Right, yeah, because they're basically
Yeah.
on borrowed time.
like what they said, like 13 years to live, or was it? Yeah,
Mhm.
because
think
because
so, yeah.
I would assume like Reiner and possibly Zeke are only have a limited amount of time to stay in their Titan forms before they eventually have to give it up
Yeah.
and pass it on to somebody else.
Yeah, but as we were about to say, yeah, the opening for this is pretty different too.
It just looked like an edited war montage, if anything. And I mean the music was all right, but it just doesn't.
It took a while to get used to. Like, I apparently this is the same band that did the ending song for season 2, and I didn't even know that, but yeah, it did sound like them. I don't know. Like I was a little bit like at first when I heard it, I was like, I don't think I like this. So I kind of had to like rewatch it again, and that started growing me. But yeah, it just not being Linked Horizons kind of took me aback. Like I was sort of expecting Linked Horizon, but that's not what we get, of course.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much the majority of this episode was just was just focusing on the new cast of characters helping to defeat like this Middle Eastern army by taking over this like walled fort.
Yeah, they're trying to take Fort. I think it was called Salva or something. The people there are basically like the Eldian army, and the characters we're introduced to are part of the technically they're part of the Marley army.
Yeah, they said like they are Eldians, but yeah, they're fighting.
Well, okay, yeah. So I should clarify. So they're Eldians, but they're okay. So a little bit of a spoiler. So they explain this later. They're Eldians, but they were they're technically what they call honorary Marleyans. And when you see those wristbands, that means they're like an honorary Marleyan. An honorary Marleyan is basically an Eldian who renounces the Eldian people and decides to fight against their own people for Marley. Because if they do that, then they'll be treated a little bit better than if they chose like not to fight for Marley. So that's basically what that is, or why they're even fighting for Marley in the first place. Also, just because they've been brainwashed, like a lot of the Eldians have been brainwashed to believe that their people are inferior.
So,
which is something we learned about.
Yeah, like what happened to what Zeke did to his parents by pretty much throwing him under the bus and then just having them turn into Titans.
Yeah, Zeke is one of those people. So he's
Falco of course gets saved by his brother Colt at the beginning of this episode, and of course we get introduced to I think 3 or 4.
It's the
Jaw Titan. So we also get introduced to another set of characters, like one notable one being Gabby, who is another young alien soldier, who's supposedly a candidate to take over, as she said she was trying to be a candidate for the Armored Titan. Okay.
Yeah.
And then and then there was like 3 other characters who I'm not familiar with. I forgot their names already, but
one of them I think was like Ortho. The other one I think I want to say her name was Caroline, but I'm not exactly sure. I will not spoil exactly why, but I will say they're not as important as far as I know. So far their mission is to take out like this armored train just patrolling the area, and the reason why they're doing that is because its weapons are capable of destroying Titans in in kind of a one-shot kill fashion. Yeah, so they can't just they try to go into this suicide mission tactic by getting a whole group of
what was it? These honorary Marley soldiers to go charging at the train and trying to take it out by force. Although
Yeah.
Gabby decides to go another route by trying to pretend to, I guess, trying to pretend to surrender by strapping a load full of grenades on her leg, and then as soon as she gets close, she just pretty much throws the set of grenades in front of the train and then just derails it off the track.
Yeah. And then of course she just like sprints away. And I think this is where we see. I think this is where the Jaw Titan. Makes
and then we also see the Cart Titan, which is carrying like a bunch of like what was it, like a lot of turns like on its back.
It's like Gatling gun.
And then soon afterwards, we also see like a dirigible in the sky, and then what's up there is like both Reiner and Zeke are taking command of like humans transforming into pure Titans by just like parachuting them off the blimp and then having them transform in midair and then like falling into the fort itself.
Yeah. I was waiting to see this actually animated because I remember when I was reading it in the manga, I was like, that's pretty crazy. I should also mention these are the only Titans, as far as I know, in the episode that are not, as far as I can tell, that are not CG. So that's another like kind of, I guess, elephant in the room we should address. When we see Reiner turn into the Armor Titan, he's CG, as well as when Zeke turns into the Beast Titan, he's also CG. The Jaw Titan and Cart Titan are both CG as well, I believe. So yeah, but it's not bad. Like I've seen worse CG, but it is really weird because I'm just used to seeing them not be CG. I know, of course, people will probably bring up the example of season 2 when the Colossal Titan was all CG, so it does look a little bit better than that. So it's not that bad.
So Reiner does end up charging against like the Middle Eastern forces in the fort, but of course he gets hit by several cannons, which end up taking out his his left arm, and he does manage to take them all out, including like another armored train that's pretty much patrolling around the walls of the fort. So he manages to take that out. Then soon afterwards, like Zeke transforms into the Beast Titan, and then of course he uses the exact same tactic by like what he did to the scouts in the last season. Yeah, just pretty much taking a load full of like explosives in his hands and just basically chucking him into like a huge fleet of like of ships out in the ocean.
So they basically end up getting rid of like all the ships that way. And yeah, they pretty much end up taking the fort. That's more or less how the episode ends, but of course, we also see a mysterious character reading a newspaper, and while they're, I guess, talking about the Marley and Victory of taking the fort. We don't know who this character is yet. I won't say. I know who this character is, but I won't say anything.
I mean, they just don't reveal too much of what's going on, and we just don't know the status of like all all the original cast members that we're familiar with.
Yeah, I will say this arc does kind of take a while to before it ends up getting back to the original cast, because not only are we going to be introduced to these new characters, but we're also eventually going to go through a bit of a kind of a longish flashback that I would imagine would probably take like an entire episode to go through. So it's going to be a while until we see Eren and the Survey Corps again.
I mean, like overall, I did like this episode. I mean, I didn't think it was bad. It just, I felt like this episode just breezed by pretty quickly. Just based on what happened.
Yeah, just because like a lot of stuff happened. Like it's just like the whole episode was mostly just them trying to take this fort.
Yeah.
But it's in the next episode, I will say we're going to at least learn more about these new characters and their circumstances. So yeah, we basically just got introduced to them in this episode, and the next one it's actually gonna flesh them out a little bit more, as well as like reintroducing us to Reiner and what he's been going through.
Did they say how many years have passed since the last season? 4 years. Okay.
4 years.
I just need to make sure.
I don't think they. I don't know if they say it in this episode, but I'll just go ahead and say 4 years.
Yeah. And like this is technically episode 60. Was it? Okay. So I just because they keep going by, they're still going by like their original episode count since the last season. So
yeah, I do like how the episode count is all just, like they don't really go by season. I know I kind of go by season, but I like how they just kind of, have it all together like that. But yeah, so what do you think of the ending in comparison to the opening, though? Because like I actually, in my opinion, I like the ending.
Yeah.
Like just I just
it's like I think this is like it's like all the other stuff that we're familiar with. It just shows like a montage of like all of the characters that are going to be featured in the season, including giving us some hints of what's going to happen later on. With I guess not spoiling too much, assuming if you're not a manga reader.
They do, yeah. Like if you're not a manga reader, you won't really know what you're looking at. So
yeah,
I mean that's good at least, but. Yeah, because people were getting on, like, because the openings of the other seasons, they were, like, especially, like, of the last season, the second part of the season 3, they were, like, spoiled way too much, which I would kind of agree with. There was a lot of spoilers in the opener.
But, yeah, overall, I don't think there's anything much to say in this episode. It's just, it's just our first taste of, like, what we're going to be expecting with MAPPA animating this show now.
Yeah, like, I know everybody was concerned with, MAPPA. And I wasn't really that concerned because I've seen what MAPPA is able to do, and I mean, Attack on Titan is definitely like a tall order though, just because of how well animated the other seasons have been. But I don't think they've really disappointed me, at least. I just, like I said, I do hope that as the show progresses, they rely a little bit less on the CG for Titans, and just more hand-drawn animation, or not not CG. But like I said, the CG I did see, it wasn't bad, so I didn't really have as much of a problem with it as I might have otherwise. So yeah, I was not disappointed with MAPPA. It really, I feel like if you were to tell someone like a different studio is animating it, I don't know if they'd really be able to tell a difference. Like it's pretty close to how it looked when Whit was animating the
definitely show. But yeah, so hopefully we'll have to see what's going to happen in next week's episode. I think the next episode's called Midnight Train, so I don't know much about what's going to happen because I didn't read the manga just to avoid any spoilers for myself. So but yeah, it's just but yeah, it's just that my only issue is like them calling this the final season, and the fact that that the manga is still not technically done as of this moment. I mean, I hear that it's nearing its end, but it's hard for me to know like when.
We've been hearing that for a while now, though, because that's kind of like what annoys me about it is like we've been hearing for months, I think, that like it's near the end. And
I mean, I still have there's still people on YouTube like literally trying to spoil a lot of stuff that's happening on that's been released.
I've had some stuff spoiled for me just by YouTube video titles as to what's like what happened.
And I mean, and this plus the 16 episode thing is like, I mean, like. I wasn't too surprised that about. No, I mean, I was a little bit surprised on that number, but yeah, it's just not surprising that it's not going to be completed as much as as people would expect it to be, considering that they're calling this the final season. I just don't know why they are.
Yeah, I'm just going to be interested to. When if we're ever going to discover like how long the season as a whole is going to be, because like I said, I expect that these 16 episodes are just the first core. So I really want to know like how long they're planning for this to go on for.
If I were to make a prediction, it's probably maybe at least two to three cores at most. If I'm going,
I would say they would need from what I could assume, at least, just because of how long I know the manga is at this point, like they would probably need to do like like I said, it would need to
Yeah,
be the
I mean,
longest season.
yeah, just based on how many volumes have been released since since the last season. Um, but yeah, overall, like, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to what's going to be presented to us in the next several weeks. Hopefully, we'll get to see the main cast again, but
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to expect it for next week, just because like they're
Well, I did say something earlier, but I won't spoil it. Someone's gonna show up, but I won't say who. You won't know. People who are anime only watchers might not know who it is when they see him, just because he looks completely different. But
Yeah.
I won't say who it is. But yeah, he's probably gonna show up, and I'm gonna guess the next episode, because from what I remember, the manga, that should be when this
Yeah.
happens. But yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that being said, I are they releasing this on Monday, or like what's the release schedule? for
I
these
assumed that
episodes?
it was going to be on Monday, but then like it took me by surprise when I heard it was going to be released yesterday. But that was like, they were like late into the afternoon.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird because like it didn't come out, like it came out at like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
My time. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna guess that it's probably gonna be on Monday, but maybe it could be Sunday. But either way, I guess that all being said, unless you have
No, I
anything
mean,
else to say.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to the next episode next week.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.